Welcome back to the channel. I promised you that I would compare my new Mavic 3 Cine drone with the Mavic Air 2, my old drone. I don't think it's a fair comparison, at least not if you would put it in the hands of a professional color grader or drone pilot, but I promised you, so here it is. For those of you just interested in the answer, yes, there is a clear difference in performance. And the biggest one is just how much more light the biggest sensor is letting in and the low light performance in general of the Mavic 3. The footage you're about to see was shot without any ND filters on any of the drones. And for some of the shots I had to stop down the exposure on the Mavic 3 with the aperture blades, while the Mavic Air 2 on other shots was struggling to get enough exposure. The other day I drove to a spot where I could fly both drones at the same time and try to capture the same angles at the same time. But because of heavy winds and the drones compensating for this heavy wind, I couldn't fly them too close to each other because I was afraid of them crashing. So that's why you'll see that the angles aren't perfectly the same, but it will be good enough to compare them. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. In these first shots, the footage is without any color correction or whatsoever on any of the drones, and as you can see, the Mavic 3 footage is way flatter than the Mavic Air 2, and that's good because that means we can capture and preserve more of the details in both the highlights and the shadows, and that's a good thing. But as soon as I start doing a little bit of color correction, that's when you start to see a huge difference between the images, and that is to be expected. The biggest difference isn't on the parts that are well lit, like the houses. The biggest difference is in especially the shadows, as there will be more noise and less details preserved there. And if you start to look at the houses as well, the whole picture just looks way more appealing, at least to my eyes. That doesn't mean that the Mavic Air 2 footage isn't good enough. I think it's amazing, especially considering the conditions this was shot in. I can't wait to fly this drone more and just see how I can push more quality out of it and how to achieve the best possible footage with this. When I started out with my Mavic Air 2, I had to edit tons of footage and fly many times before I started to see how I could push the best colors and the best footage out of this drone, and that's also probably one of the reasons why the footage in this video is actually comparable to the Mavic 3 footage, because I'm good with this drone, but I still have to learn how to handle this drone. I recently published a video where I compiled some of the amazing footage that I've shot with this drone in the short time that I've had it, so if you haven't watched that already, I really recommend that you check it out. Link here, I think. Now, would I say that the Mavic Air 2 or the Air 2S isn't good enough? By no means. I would love to check out the Air 2S, seeing as that has a 1-inch sensor that is twice as big as this one and has newer technology. So if you ever get the chance to buy any of those two drones, I would go for it. Is the Mavic 3 worth it? Well, both yes and no. It's extremely expensive, so as long as we don't have use of all the different modes and settings to test out, I can't say if it's all worth it. But I am extremely impressed so far, and DJI hasn't let me down just yet. But that's it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching yet another video, and I hope you digged it. If you did, I would love it if you subscribe to my channel, give me a like, maybe 2, maybe 3, and leave your favorite emoji in the comments below. Alright, see you around, guys. I'm just talking, and there's no end to all I'm saying, and I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed. But I am extremely so close.